Everyone, and welcome back to the Together Apart video series. This past Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, a day when we came together as a country to celebrate the contributions, history, and culture of Native American communities. While this day used to be Columbus Day, because of the work of many advocates for many years, this day has instead become a day of celebration of Native American communities, and also a day in which we as a country come together to look back at our history. Now, when we look back, there is so much that we have to wrestle with in our history. The genocide of Native peoples, the theft of Native land, and looking today, the systemic injustice faced by Native communities in our country. Though across the country and within this community, we may have different ideas about what it looks like to move forward in light of this history, we are nonetheless invited to come together on this day and to take a look and to hold this very complicated and dark history together. Now, on this past Indigenous Peoples Day, I began thinking about my own connection to the day as a Jew. My family, as I have mentioned to many of you, like so many other Jewish families, have the experience and the legacy of having survived the Holocaust. I consider myself as well among those who spend time wrestling with what it looks like and what it means for us to survive and to thrive in our post-genocide reality. And as a rabbi, all of this makes me wonder what it might look like for Jewish communities and Native American communities to connect around our similar histories of having experienced genocide. What kind of shared path might open up if we make this connection with one another? Now, as I contemplate all of this, I am also painfully aware of how much I have to learn, how much I have to better understand. And in this, I'd like to invite you to join me in doing some learning, in doing some growth. And in particular, I'd like to invite you to reflect as a way to direct your learning and thinking. I'd like to invite all of us to reflect on one aspect of the history of our country's treatment of Native Americans that we'd better like to understand. What is just one aspect of this history that we'd better like to understand? And I want to invite you to reflect on what ways you see the stories of Jews and Jewish communities connecting to the stories of Native American and Native American communities. What connections do you see among our histories and stories? As usual, I invite you to share your responses to these questions with me. I look forward to hearing what's on your heart and on your mind.